Well, I do want to thank Thomas Heffron for giving me the opportunity to go after him and not after Aaron. Um, so when I was looking, I mentioned it earlier, if you were here for SecOC 101, it's very difficult going in between two talks with dongs and, you know, and everything. So, but I do want to go into a real quick talk. Landing your dream job in InfoSec. There's been, I don't know, some asshole has been asking me for months to give this talk. Here we go. So I am going to spend, Aaron, a long time on a slide all about me. So that was, you got it. All right. So just a little bit about me. I manage the computer incident response team, the vulnerability management, penetration testing, and the computer forensics team of major telco. Those that were hooting or hollering probably work at the same place. So, so really, I really do work with some great guys. Our job is to discover and understand the latest threats in order to prevent them from leveraging them against us. So I've been involved with the hackerspace. I love seeing some of the hackerspace guys here tonight. I'm co-founder of SecOC, and man, I freaking love Python, right? But really what it boils down to is I really like training hackers how to hack, okay? Mainly because it keeps me in a job. If you guys are hacking, that means that we can prevent you from doing that, okay? So, Trent, I don't know if you can read that back there, but I've never been on Fox News, CNN, but I do know someone that's been on Romper Room.
No, wait a minute. You were on CNN.
Well, let's go back. Okay, so my assumptions about you, okay, really who this talk is for is for those people that are trying to break into InfoSec. I know most of the people here are already in it, so this talk maybe not for you, but who I'm trying to talk to is for those people that are ready to make that step, go from IT, and get into the InfoSec side. Maybe those that are already in, you can gain a little bit of something, but that's who my target audience is today. So let's talk about what is InfoSec. And this is actually a big question, such a simple slide, but it's pretty big. So let me just start. Donnie Huebner, where are you at? I stole this slide from that guy right there, so don't think that I put this together. So InfoSec is huge. There's lots of areas that you can get into with InfoSec, and it really is important right now that you identify what do I want to get into. All right. I'm going to go through these real quick, and I'm going to talk about the different areas of InfoSec. But before you jump your career in InfoSec, I really want you to think about what is it that I want to get to at the end. What is it that really interests me, and we can go from there. So security systems, admin engineering, these are our firewall systems, policy design, security information event management. So these are basically the systems, the admins, and the engineering around how do we get the intelligence that we need to protect our environment, right? So think about the security appliances, our IPSs, our web proxies, our DLP, or WAP. Somebody needs to be engineering how these are deployed. Are they in the right area, right? Are they running the right policy? Are they detecting the things that they need to detect? Security governance. This is the Playboy section of security, okay? These are the people that are more interesting than anybody. These are the people designing our policies and our standards, right? So security risk governance, making sure that people, follow our policies, making sure that we're prepared for disasters, and that we are making sure that our employees understand that when they click on that link, they're actually not going to get $1 million. Okay. Risk mitigation and compliance. So I kind of lumped a lot in this section, so I apologize, but if you take a look at compliance, compliance could be making sure that we are meeting the letter of the law for different regulatory compliance regulations. Sorry about that. But risk assessments, right? Making sure that that we have a way to handle exceptions, right? We as security people just can't say no, even though that's our job is to say no. We need a way to understand. Okay, the answer has to be yes. How do we work around that, right? Penetration testing, vulnerability assessment. I already mentioned regulatory compliance. But this is going through making sure that we're meeting a lot of that audit. So threat and exploit management, making sure that we understand what are the threats that are facing us. Do we care about the latest SSL threat, right? How does it impact our environment, and how should we mitigate that issue? And then finally, incident management, making sure that we're ready. once we are breached, assume breach, right? Make sure that we are ready. We have the team, we have the capability, and we have the procedures to respond to that incident, contain that incident, and then get ourselves back to a normal state of operation. So, okay, I know that was a ton to get through, and I apologize. By the way, I do understand that this is probably not one of the more entertaining presentations, especially after what we just saw. But so now that we know what we want to do, right, and maybe we don't yet, and we can talk about that later, but how do we begin? Well, it's actually pretty easy, right? So we kind of need to sit back and think about how do we get to where we're going to go. You just don't go, if you want to, travel for an example, you just don't hop on a plane and go. You need to prepare a little bit. You need to think about what am I going to need in my back pocket when I get there? What are the things that I need to get there? And that's really what we do. So first, let's develop 2 elevator pitches. And really, it's this simple. And for you young guys and guys wanting to get into the infosec, I'm serious, this is where you need to start. Step 1, develop 2 elevator pitches. If you come up to me and say, Bill, I want to get into infosec, I'm going to ask you, number 1, what do you do right now? Okay, just tell me. And 2, who do you want to be? All right, so back earlier we mentioned here are the different areas of infosec. I want to know what are you doing right now, and I want to know where do you want to be. So second, take that second elevator pitch and identify the skills required to be an expert in that area. Okay, and along the way, ask for help. Look around you. There's over 50 people in this room that are probably, and someone in here is probably doing exactly what you want to do. Go talk to that person. Who in here, as a show of hands, and I want you to look around. Who in here, raise your hand if you are not willing to talk to somebody and give them advice. One person. And we could have identified that asshole from the beginning. I'm serious. So you need to identify those skills that it takes to become an expert. Sit back and think. If I was going to be an expert in this field, what are those skills that I need? All right? So I'm going to put down some things as a penetration tester. And just brain mapping. What are some of the things that I need to do to gain those skills, right? So number 1, I'm going to need a target-rich environment, right? Something that I can hack. If you come at me saying, I want to be a penetration tester, I'm going to say, tell me about the system you've hacked. And if you say to me, well, Bill, I haven't really hacked anything. I want to become a penetration tester so I can hack things. I'm going to say, get the fuck out, right? Get yourself a target-rich environment. This is a brilliant time and age to be a part of information security, all right? There is so much available to us right now that was never available to like our parents' generation, right? You had to go to college, you had to study. Right now, we have, if you want to go hack a system, you can either use systems like Shodan, or you can build your own. Really? Use systems like Shodan. They're hilarious. Laugh. Okay. Sorry. Failed joke. I'm sorry.
I've used that system.
Yeah, I've used Shodan to hack, right? Okay, but I'm sorry. Inside joke. You can download systems. You may not be aware of these, but there are systems like Metasploitable, DVL, WebGo. These systems are purpose-built to be hacked. Okay, Metasploitable is an operating system built to be hacked. DVL stands for Data Vulnerable Linux. Guess what it's built to do, right? WebGo is a web application that's terrible, right? Download these things and hack them, right? Step 2, go get yourself some industry standard tools. Nessus, Nmap, Metasploit. I can keep going. And go hack that shit. Go scan it, go figure it out, and hack it. All right? If you haven't seen the OS top 10, go read them again, and then go take them back and hack them, and take a look. How do I implement that stuff, right? While you're going, make sure you're understanding exactly what you're doing, right? You're building those skills. Okay? You want to go into an interview, you want to sit down, and when Bill says, tell me about the system you hacked, you know what? In my job right now, I work for the help desk. I don't have access to hack systems, so here's what I've done. I've built a target-rich environment in my house. I've used 2 tools that I've downloaded like Nessus, Nmap, Metasploit. I've found vulnerabilities in that environment. I've hacked them. I've seen SQL injection. I've seen cross-site scripting, right? And here's some of the output that I found. Not only did I hack it,
Bill,
yes, sir.
how much does it cost to do that?
The question from Dr. Huebner back there was, how much does it cost to do this? It costs nothing but time, right? You know, that's all you have. And if you come to me and say, I don't have enough time, then I'm going to tell you, you're not dedicated enough, all right? All it takes is some time. And don't tell me, you know, all it takes is a system with VMware and all the other virtual services that are out there. You can even get, what's the free?
VirtualBox.
There we go, VirtualBox. Right, you can get free VirtualBox and do this all for free. But along the way, make sure you're doing this in a way that you can present this as evidence, okay? Make sure it's purposeful. And what does that mean? That means you're doing it for a reason, okay? Don't just go home and hack stuff. Go home and hack stuff to learn. Make sure it's reliable, all right? And what I mean by that is make sure that you're able to repeat that, right? So, you know, if you go and download some exploit code from the internet, you know, you may or may not know exactly what it's doing, but explain how you ended up with that exploit code. Explain when you ran it, what you did, and make sure you document that output, because someone like me may say, okay, well, show me the output of your report, right? And also make sure that, like, don't autopwn, okay? And friends don't let friends autopwn. Don't just say, you know, get a tool and say, go hack that. Don't do that. Understand what the vulnerability is. Go find an exploit. Use a tool like Metasploit to actually go ahead, you know, to exploit. So third. So I'm going to go back up a little bit. Second, identify the skills required to become an expert. Okay, I spent way too long on that slide. I apologize. Third, prioritize and obtain those skills. Okay, so what that means is we identify the skills that we think an expert needs to have. We're going to prioritize and obtain those skills. So it only takes 20 hours to learn a new skill. And look at this. This is an actual learning curve, and if you take a look at it, it makes sense. There's diminishing returns with learning. So the way our brain works is we learn very quick on the learning curve, and then over time, as we become an expert, it really does slow. If you take a look at language, you only have to know 80 of the most common phrases to be fluent in a language. If you want to speak Chinese, you only have to know 80 phrases. All right? Do you think you can learn 80 phrases in 20 hours? Yes. That's less than 1 week after work. Okay? If you want to learn Chinese, you can learn Chinese in less than 1 week. Or
Where's
Mexican.
my screwball?
Or Mexican. Let me tell you how you do that in 20 hours. First, you deconstruct the skill. You need to break down these skills into the parts and find the most important things to practice first. If we're talking about Chinese, identify and prioritize. What are the most common phrases used in the Chinese language? Prioritize those. This is the most common down to the most least common. Along the way, you need to... What's that?
Like,
where is the local sex shop in Chinese? Along the way, self-correct. Make sure you're looking at valid reference material and correcting yourself along the way. It's okay to be wrong. You know what? I would much rather somebody come to me and say, I tried hacking into it and didn't make it, but at least I tried, right? And then I correct yourself along the way. And also remove barriers to learning. So make sure that you identify and remove anything that distracts you from focusing on the skill that you want to learn. This could be a lot of different things depending on your current life situation. This could be home, right? Some people can learn at home, some people can't because you've got life in the way, right? So maybe what you do is you take some time off of work or something and go somewhere else and learn there. I'm not gonna tell you how to do that, but remove those barriers to the learning. Practice at least 20 hours. I'm telling you, you can get the skill that you want in less than 20 hours. Does that 20 hours have to be right in a row? No. What if it takes a month? What if it takes 2 months, 3 months? That's okay. It only takes 20 hours. So really what matters when you're sitting in that interview, all right? All right? When you're sitting in that interview, it doesn't matter what you've done, okay? It matters what you're doing. I want to hear, as a hiring manager, I want to hear, what are you doing right now that benefits me? And it doesn't matter if you're doing that at work, it doesn't matter if you're doing that at home, or if you're doing that at SecAC. As long as you can tell me what you're doing, that's what matters to me the most. Along the way, make sure you're telling people what you're doing. This is where a lot of our community fails, right? Is we're very introverted. We like to work on our own. Sometimes we're let's face it. I'm sorry, but we're just probably not as social as maybe our wives. I apologize back there. But so we're just as infosec professionals, we're generally not so social. Um, I love the triple E's here. So you can work the social game really easy. All right? If you want a very successful and popular Twitter account and you want to prove what you're doing, you need to do the triple E. It's entertain, educate, and engage. So entertain doesn't mean funny. I know some of us are much more funnier than others, but really what it's trying to do is entertain the crowd that we want to engage. Right? When people are out looking for interesting ideas, there's 50 people here today wanting to hear interesting ideas, okay? What you need to do is engage those people with the ideas that you feel interesting, and trust me, you're going to find your crowd, okay? Talk about what you're working on. Remember, it doesn't matter what you've done, it matters what you're doing. Talk about what you're doing right now. Educate. Share something that you've learned, all right? Along the way, if you're building something, if you're building a tool, and you learn, for example, a good example would be as I was teaching myself, more Python and those kind of things, share simple things that may sound absurd to you. Everybody knows, the dash capital A in Nmap will tell us all the services running that. You know what? Not everybody knows that. Share that stuff on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever your favorite MySpace account is, or whatever. Share that there.
Tracer T.
Yeah. Tracer T is an amazing tool, right? And engage, and quite honestly, engage it really does go back to the first letter, entertain, but make sure you're asking questions, make sure you're answering questions, just engage the audience along the way. And most importantly, get involved. All right? So I don't really have to talk to this crowd about this, but get involved. Right now, Kansas City is an amazing market. Earlier I talked about people who were not talking about at the 5-minute tool talks. I don't think you guys understand the opportunity that you have in front of yourself right there. The tool talks, the reason why we made the 5-minute tool talks was multi-home, right? Number one, if you make a tool talk, it's 5 minutes. I'm telling you, when you have a microphone, that feels like 30 seconds, okay? But in the background, you've taken a tool that you didn't know. Somebody else wrote this tool. You didn't even have to write it, right? But you grabbed a tool that you weren't aware of, you figured it out, and you put up a few simple slides, but you know that tool at that point very well, right? Then you can share that information with your peers. When you're standing up here with a microphone, you are the expert, right? You're going to be sharing that tool with your peers, and quite honestly, you've built knowledge. For everybody who's going to talk, while you're researching your talk, you know everything there is to know about it, right? That's why the tool talks are so important. Guys, I'm telling you, SecAC is a course. This is the opportunity to get up here. We've already had a great talk. We're getting ready to have another one. We have a great audience here, the people that are willing to learn. Here's the time to get involved. Also, we have other great groups in Kansas City. There's the Hackerspace that has a thriving environment, right? There's the OWASP team that is based around web application penetration testing. And I know that the 2600 group is still around, and everybody. You guys, we've got great groups here. You need to get involved. So when it breaks down to it, when you're in an interview, and be able to respond to, hey, where do I know you from? And a lot of times, you may look around and people, I ask that question all the time, right? A lot of times people come up and introduce themselves, or I introduce myself to them, and whatever. I'll ask, hey, where do I know you from? Be ready to answer that question. There's nothing better to be able to say, yeah, I mentioned SecAC, or hey, I gave a talk, that was posted online, or I'm real active on Twitter, and if you saw me there, be prepared to answer that question. Okay, so here's the hard part. That's great and all, Bill. But so we've improved ourselves, and we're now on track. But when I go to the job site, I need to find how do I do it. I go on the website, and it says I need 7 years of experience, right? I need master's degree in whatever. That's fine. I understand that, and I get that, quite honestly. Start it on. All right. If you can say for the last 5 years, I've been building an environment. I've been hacking in my house. I've been working on my report generation. Or if you want to go into the incident response side, I hack my systems, and then I go in and try and find the evidence. That's going to go a long way to a hiring manager who, quite honestly, probably didn't choose the slide that said, I need 7 years or 4 years, right? That probably came from the HR person. Guys, quite honestly, it matters what you're doing, not what you've done. Okay? Then, start at your work right now. Is there things that you can be doing at your work right now that can help get you to where you want to be? Start asking. You know, if you want to be a pen tester, or if you want to be an IR, is there something that we're doing right now that you can help there? So start sharing. We've already talked about that. But and start improving yourself. And quite honestly, all you really need to do is just keep going. So the very last slide I have here is about security certifications. Quite honestly, guys, I am a fan of security certifications. And you can go ahead and say boo or whatever on that. That's okay. So I am a fan of security certifications. As a hiring manager right now, I have a stack of resumes. Okay, so I put out a post, I may get 100 resumes. I've got to start somewhere. As a hiring manager, I have to start somewhere. Now, I'm not just going to choose the people that have security, certifications. But I will tell you, it's something that I look for. It's definitely not the full story, but it's part of the story. All right. What I am not a fan of, and quite honestly, my advice to you is if you do go into a job that requires a certain certification, perhaps if it were me, I would probably take and really consider that. But if I could, say, I would suggest that you go after those. And then so once we have, once we've talked about you have the knowledge, right? You've gained the experience, you can go ahead and go get your dream job. So I do want to throw out a real quick slide here for those who you guys kind of sat through and endured that talk. Who's hiring? Right? Is anybody hiring? Please stand up. Okay? All right. So those guys that are looking for a job, I want you to look around and look, there's people hiring right now. Quite honestly, I'm hiring too. Okay? There are people in this, yeah. Oh, okay. No, I'm saying there are people right here that are trying to find you. Okay? Listen to me. There are people in this audience that are trying to find you. Right? So this is the opportunity, like I mentioned earlier, this is the time to go introduce yourself to those people that stood up. Introduce yourself and say, here are the things that I'm doing. Here is what I'm interested in. Give your two elevator pitches. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I want to be. Trust me, it'll go a long way. And like I mentioned, so I'm hiring. These slides are available right now at bit.ly/infosec. You can get to my page at incident response, which is badass. I know. I can't believe that no one got that one. But that's all I got. So thanks, guys.